One second, sir. Co-host is there, sir, already. You can start, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
You can present, sir. You can present or present. Yeah, yes.
A very good morning to everyone. In the last session, I have discussed about supervised learning technique, which is a simple linear regression model. I hope you have understood that how exactly a model will be trained and as well as a model is going to be tested and how an accuracy of a model is going to be tested also. See, most of the cases in the real-time industry or maybe in real-time situations, applying our analysis using supervised learning technique might not be possible because your survey data set might not have in the form of a labeled manner. Probably, let me talk about little ahead about it. Yeah, so in concern with supervised learning, I would like to talk about these topics. What exactly unsupervised learning, how it is different from the supervised learning technique, what is the purpose of clustering, where it is essential to be adopted, even though we have a supervised learning approach. And in order to perform this clustering operation, this is the one kind of approach where an objects are going to be grouped, similar objects and as dissimilar objects as a one group, where certain mathematical computation is going to be takes place. There are some distance between certain points. These terms little unaware to certain people. Let me clarify. And where clustering can also be applied for optimization problems. And what are the types of clusterings we have? So how to measure the performance of the clusters? Yeah. So these topics I would like to talk, subsequently about it. Yeah. Firstly, I would like to talk about what is an unsupervised learning. See, basically, unsupervised learning is different from supervised learning. Supervised learning, right? See, supervised is nothing but that the input data, the data which you take, is going to be make you to apply either supervised or maybe unsupervised learning approach for your model. See, in the earlier case, I told you, if you have any historical data set, isn't it? See, this unsupervised is nothing but in the data you will not find any kind of any kind of a labeled set. Let us suppose depends on the certain input, you have to classify certain information like little groups. So let us suppose I wanted to cluster certain students, good students. Yeah, so good student, for example, I wanted to cluster good students and bad students. See, I'm going to take this data set related to the student where your SSC your SSC marks, your MSET rank, and your aggregate marks, isn't it? And extracurriculum activities. Based on these characteristics or properties of a student, this is a student one whose SSC percentage will be 85, you know, and MCET rank is, maybe 2000, and aggregate marks will be 75. Your extracurriculum activities will be out of 5, you will have a 4. Likewise, you will have all data. You will have many sample data I'm going to collect. Right? Now, based on this particular data, if you look at this data does not have a label. This data, note, this data doesn't have any kind of a label. Means whether the student is a good or bad, whether he is a good, or maybe good will be a 1, and a bad will be a 0, and a good will be a 1, bad will be a 0. I'm not going to be consider about this particular labeled data. So unsupervised learning technique is nothing but whenever data does not have label while training your model, isn't it? But whereas in supervised learning technique, learning models, you should have labeled data set. So in real-time scenario, may not be possible to collect sample data along with label. Right? So due to this reason, I just came with one particular unsupervised approach called as which is best technique. We have a very popular technique. I'm going to talk about it, which is k-means algorithm. Right? Which is k-means algorithm. So what is exactly this k-means algorithm? How it will work? So probably you might be able to understand with a sample classical example, numerically, conceptually, as well as programmatically. I'll be making you to clear about it, isn't it? Okay. Right. See, I hope you understand how supervised approach is different from unsupervised approach while learning certain data. So what exactly machine learning will do? It learns certain things by experience without being explicitly programmed, which means that once your model is learned, it is experienced via your historical data. Interference or intervention of an user is not expected by your model. That is the point which is not being explicitly programmed, meaning, isn't it? Okay. So unsupervised learning will be comes under one of the approaches, machine learning approach, isn't it? Which will be draw a certain inferences from unlabeled data set. Right? Yeah. Okay. Now probably certain terms are not so familiar with you, but still you have to be intact with the certain words. Every word I'm going to be address you why that word have been related to this particular term, right? So here the model is the model is nothing but here k-means. We should not take otherwise. The model is here. K-means.
Venkat sir.
1 second, sir. 1 second, probably you are getting noise.
No. Venkat sir. Kids, no problem. Sir, Venkat sir. Hello, Venkat sir.
Rameshwaran, sir. I hope now it is okay, right?
No, that is not the problem. If you want, you can close your video. Not a problem at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you said, that is correct. You can grab the attention towards only programming, right?
Correct, sir.
Otherwise, they'll have exactly right whatever you said.
Correct.
Right, sir. No problem.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, for the interruption. See, the model which we are applying now for performing unsupervised approach is K-means. So what exactly this K-means algorithm will do, which is a model which is trying to find a relationship between the data. Probably certain patterns are going to be hidden, which is going to be discovered as soon as you are going to be apply this particular model. How exactly it happens, how is different from the supervised approach, definitely I'll be able to make you clear over here, right? The next point is the most common, I said, the most common versatility an algorithm when most of the real-time scenario we are going to apply is that which is also called as a clustering process, which is also called as clustering process, right? Which is it is a process. A clustering is a process. I'll just let me just type it. Clustering is the process which will classify your data into similar characteristics as one group and dissimilar data points as one group, right? And some outliers also represented by the clustering approach. So this is the task which is going to be happen during this particular cluster analysis. Simple, very simple example. A student who is having good SSC marks, MSET rank, aggregate marks, obviously we are going to be make him as a good clustering group, isn't it? Good student group. A student will have drawbacks with percentages, certain terms. We are going to making as average student. But certain students will have certain things. Probably the SSC marks will be second class. MSET rank is maybe 60,000. Suddenly he will get a job in Microsoft. Will you be able to consider as a good student? It is obviously comes under outlier person. See, there are certain things where we cannot expect during your data sample collection. We cannot collect along with their particular category. So in that particular case, K-means algorithm would learn about certain characteristics about certain entity, without any predefined labels. For that reason, it is a necessary, it is an essential part where we cannot expect the data label about the data set. For that reason, K-means is an unsupervised learning where you cannot expect any kind of prior knowledge would be available in the data, isn't it? So purely during the process of applying an algorithm, the model is going to be learn what relationship is existing between the data. Right? Anyhow, we will be able to understand. I'm sorry if I'm taking a little more time for this theoretical explanation. Yeah, okay. Okay. Let me go for the next point. Probably the point which I told, it is an exploratory data analysis where to be find a hidden patterns, isn't it? Or grouping in the data, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Firstly, I told that the clustering is the process. Clustering is the process which is an unsupervised learning approach when you model consider into a picture. So this is a process of learning, where if you give a large amount of data as an input for your model, it is going to make a group of set of objects it takes as an input such a way that the objects, see, real-time objects, even human being is also an object. Let us suppose, I wanted to classify, in the bank, who are the good customers, who are the defaulters. Obviously, how do you make this this classification or group? Based on your CIBIL score, based on your characteristics or day-to-day, your transactions smoothly happening with the bank. If you have any check bounces, if you are not paying the certain loans, repay back to the bank, obviously, automatically based on your transactions, the application is going to be automatically it categorized or group you that you are a defaulter or a good customer, isn't it? So so everything in the universe will be treated as objects, isn't it? So what exactly this clustering approach will happen, that if you give large amount of customer data as an input to your model, such a way that, isn't it, it learns the relationship. In the future, when you give an unknown data to the particular that application, it automatically categorizes you that you are a considered defaulter or eligible for the loan or not, isn't it? Such kind of analysis would happen with the help of clustering only. So similar characteristics people are going to be considered as one group. Dissimilar objects are going to be considered as another group. And even though Vijay Mallya, such people also going to be considered outlier people. So they are going to be treated as a defaulters. Probably in the lifetime they are not going to be get such kind of privileges again and again. So these are all analysis would happen automatically by the bank, by the hospital industry, by the e-commerce industry, in many more huge and numerous areas we can apply these particular techniques. That's up to you how exactly you want it to be applied this particular technique. Right. So applications I just listed over here that, automatically, organizing the data related to anything, isn't it? And it automatically labels the data while during the training of the data. See, obviously during training of a data, your data might not have label, but as soon as once unlabeled data trained by the technique called as a k-means, it is going to provide you that a labeled data which group this particular person is going to be belonging to, isn't it? That is called as a labeling of a data. Labeling of a data is nothing but group the object which is belonging to, isn't it? Or else class, isn't it? This group category or classification would happen dynamically, not during the training of your data. That's you have to be understand. Okay. Understanding a hidden structure of the data. See, let us suppose if I ask a question that whether the power consumption, let me take whether the question is that this is my analysis. This is my analysis I would like to apply. Question is that whether electrical power consumption is more in winter or summer. Most of the answers as a human being answer, you will say that summer. We'll say that summer. Obviously, we'll have, because we will use ACs, probably fans, most of the person. If you really look at real data means real data, where the electrical department people would collect a number of units consumed by the industry people, probably residence people. They are saying that answer is that winter, isn't it? See, your assumptions might fail, because completely it is a hypothetical. Hypothetical. Sometimes our assumptions should fail, because your 1%, 2%, 3%, 10% feedback or maybe opinion does not sufficient to conclude certain certain noticeable points. So we require a standard scientific methodology, which is an unsupervised learning approach done by the k-means algorithm, would give you that automatically, would give that based on the consumption of your power, a person would come high, about 200 units or maybe below 200 people. All these categories of the groups would be happen automatically with the help of this kind of approaches. Please, you try to be understand where these techniques are plays an important role as part of analysis, because we are learning machine learning. It is not only focus or maybe targeted to a specific branch or domain or maybe field. It is an universally we can able to apply wherever there is a area to be analyzed without a human brain, isn't it? Which is not possible for the human brain, isn't it? Which is possible for the a technique which is sophisticated in terms of learning, which is much more better than the human being, right? Okay. Where hidden structure would be detected automatically, which is not possible for the human being. So news clustering, obviously, there are different types of news, maybe sports news, maybe, political news, maybe, entertainment news, maybe, if you look at a news at television or maybe, day-to-day life, it will be categorized into different categories. So based on the content of your news, it is going to be categorized and clustered automatically with the help of this particular technique. Okay. Customer segmentation, bank customer segmentation, whether you are a defaulter, whether is a good customer, whether is a average customer, whether is a regular customer, what type of customer, as much as possible, how many clusters you want, that's up to you based on your analysis. Let us classification of the students. He is an extraordinary student, he is an outstanding student, he's a good student, he's an average student, he might be a bad student. Here 5 categories. Otherwise, if you wanted to group who are the eligible for the placements, who are not eligible for the placements, you need only two groups. So automatically, that's up to you what you wanted to be, group. There is no restriction that 2 categories, 3 groups, or 4 groups, or 5 groups. That's up to you, as many you want. So in the bank also. And such as the social groups. So how the social groups will be happen? If you look at LinkedIn would uses a clustering process, isn't it? Facebook would use a clustering process. Social groups, if you are belonging to data scientist group, all the data scientist people will be categorized as a one group. If you are a faculty, all the faculties related to computer science will be at one group, EC will be one group, mechanical will be one group, probably all the engineering faculties will be at one group, arts and science will be one group, teachers are one group. Like that, based on your characteristics, you are going to give your profile data. I'll be able to make clustering based on the social groups, we can say. That process would happen not manually, it is using clustering process. You have to be noticed, especially where exactly this happens. Pattern recognition, let us suppose our thumb impression, isn't it? Our biometrics, if we give, It is called as a pattern recognition. It is a one kind of a pattern recognition approach, where your thumb impression pattern, my thumb impression pattern, completely universally, no two people will have the same thumb impression universally. That pattern recognition is also going to be recognized and detected by the clustering approach. Image processing also, if you upload your X-ray, certain reports to, there is an application, something say to or something for COVID, automatically that application would be analyze your image and it gives you that whether you are suffered from a positive or negative towards corona. Yes or no? So likewise, the categories or groups based on your characteristics, based on your symptoms, automatically it happens because of this particular clustering approach. I'm telling you the application where the clustering would be applied, isn't it? So clustering images based on their visual content. Obviously, brain tumor, you are suffering from a brain tumor or not is also be automatically categorized if we upload a CT scanning, computer related scanning to the computer. If we apply this model based on your visual content, automatically the application would tell that you are suffering from brain tumor or not, isn't it? Let us like that, lot of applications where the things would be appear. So bioinformatics, so this is a one area where the clustering would be applied. Obviously, I told you that WW, World Wide Web and Information Retrieval System, Google, probably, the internet would use completely clustering approach wherever there is a classification of your information to detect let us suppose here the question is that I wanted to concern about about World Wide Web. What type of question, what types of websites during COVID worldwide people used? This is my query, isn't it? So there is an answer, that so during COVID probably we will be we are at home, probably online classes, online software, corporate training website. This is an answer for your question. So here, if you use most probably e-commerce applications, you will be categorized, what probably will not be categorized as see, if you are highly professional, you will not find a time to see for the e-commerce application, because there are certain applications we have where the usage of WhatsApp, how many hours you have used, how many calls you have done, on which application you have spent how much time, everything can be categorized. Based on your usage pattern, I'm going to classify you as a certain category people. So there also, clustering approaches would be happen and which will be applicable for you to understand. So like that, there are numerous area where exactly these unsupervised learning approaches will be applied. That's your imagination, that's your proactive nature, that where you could be able to apply your clustering approach. Right? Yeah, okay. So as I said, document classification, automatically document classification. What do you mean by that? If you have we are working under World Wide Web, you can upload any kind of a document. Exactly. If a document is related to legal document, your document is related to hospital document, your document is related to scientific, this document is related to research, the document classification would happen based on the content of that particular document. Automatically that category of the document will becomes under what category. isn't it? So for that reason, the cluster weblog also, which is going to be discover certain groups of the similar patterns. So wherever there is a hidden patterns, you want it to be classified, automatically detected in a group without a prior labeled data, then you can apply simply this particular clustering techniques. Okay, so I'm just making you to clear that this is a sample, a pictorial representation to make you understand that, see, before this clustering application would be applied, your objects related to, just like a dots in the searching space. See, for example, the JNTU University has 150 engineering colleges. Which colleges are comes under what cluster? Probably, the colleges which are located in near Gatkesar district, all the colleges, let us suppose this particular searching space will be a Hyderabad, Telangana, you can consider, isn't it? So here, if you look at green color, red color, blue color are the engineering colleges. Let us assume they are the engineering colleges. See, probably they might be belonging, they might be located physically different locations, but they are not meaningful. I told they are unorganized objects because they are mixed objects. But automatically, I wanted to cluster these objects. See, here I'm telling you that this is one engineering college, 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 this is one engineering college. Probably you take our green colors are the pharmacy college, blue colors are the engineering colleges. Probably, this particular red colors are the MBA colleges. Probably nowadays in one college there are more than one particular course is running. Just you try to understand that these points are related to different categories of the colleges. They are unorganized colleges. But if the JNTU will have this kind of problem, then see, if let us suppose these people, so the people who are locating in this particular category conducted an external exam. As soon as your affiliated college would be conducted your exam, your paper should be collected from authorized people from JNT University. They have to deposit in the university. See, if they allocate one particular vehicle to collect all these particular clustered or distance related colleges, so that easily, very quickly, they are going to pick up and they are going to drop into the college. For that reason, the university people have came to an idea that whatever the colleges are located in one particular region, why don't we make as a one cluster colleges? The colleges which are located in a Medchal area, they'll be cluster one particular colleges. The colleges which are locating the place where Chavela route means CVIT, probably Gandipet area, all those colleges are clustered into one particular college. Like that, before applying your clustering approach, which is a K-means algorithm, all the objects are unorganized. But after applying your approach, the colleges are becoming very meaningful. This is one cluster or maybe group, isn't it? Where probably depends on the distance. So in this region, whatever the colleges are located, I'm going to be clustered as a one group. This is group 2, this is group 3. So based on what factor they have clustered this particular cluster groups, based on the distance, I can say. Isn't it? So now, logically, they are going to be categorized. Automatically, certain information will be gathered about this particular region. A lot of analysis can be taken place. Sometimes one college is there here. This is one college. This college, neither we cannot mix with this particular cluster, we cannot mix with this cluster because the distance will be 50 kilometers, isn't it? The distance will be here can be a 60 kilometers. If we calculate with this particular cluster, probably 100 kilometers. So the technique ambiguous. Your technique is ambiguous. This point can be considered. This point can be considered as, you know what? This point can be considered as what? It is an outlier. This point can be called as an outlier. See, manually they can cluster one of the category. Probably 50 will be little distance when compared with 60. Probably they might be considered. But let us suppose I'll take another type of a data. See, most of the people related to a student, age, student age, or maybe student height. See, if you are a BTech final year person, probably you might have your age will be 21. Suppose your age is 29. You cannot fit into these particular characteristics of the groups because your age is outlier. Nobody will have this particular age. It can be a wrong input given by the people. Probably you might be failed a number of times. There might be your point is lies or in the searching place somewhere else, which is not having natural characteristics, the actual characteristics which will be matched with the rest of the groups. Yes or no? For that reason, so in the clustering process, you will be able to group automatically, but similarly, there is an outlier points also represented in the searching space. I hope you understand. So before clustering, your data is a meaningless or unorganized. But after applying clustering approach, your data is very meaningful. For suppose if you give a new data to please particular this technique, automatically your new data, which is related to a patient, related to a student, related to college. For example, one college is newly established, let us suppose Neil Gupta Institute of Technology, which is very near to the Nalla Narasimha Engineering College. Isn't it? So obviously, the distance is very near to this particular two colleges. Obviously, this college also comes under this particular cluster. Isn't it? Automatically it happens. If one more college would be established, here, obviously it happens. If it is Medchal area, so this comes under this particular region. Automatically, due to GPS or maybe due to geologically, we can calculate the distances and we are going to be categorized a particular cluster comes under this particular region, so that meaningfully we can handle the data, we can analyze the data, certain patterns. For example, there is a question I wanted to pitch among three groups of the engineering colleges. Among three groups of this particular engineering colleges, I have one question. The question is that past 5 years, in which region most of the colleges de-affiliated. This is my question. So here, obviously, as the colleges are de-affiliated, by default, those colleges will be blocked by the colleges unless and until if you maintain proper qualities related to your premises, then only they are going to be make your college an active. Affiliated, de-affiliated, isn't it? For that reason, that question can be answered. See, as you are observing here, obviously, here. Let us suppose I'll be taking a pointer. Yeah. So here in this region, these colleges have been de-affiliated, means they are not considerable. So obviously, as colleges have been reduced when compared with previous, easily we can say by seeing the pattern that these area region colleges have been de-affiliated maximum from past 5 years. So this hidden data patterns can be observed. Please, I request certain participants are unmuted. Please be. I'll just mute everyone. Okay. Yeah, am I audible? Yeah, obviously. Yeah, okay. Right. See here. So this is the noticeable point I wanted to make you very clearly. about all the things. So here there is another example I have taken, that the number of purchases. See, it is an e-commerce application. It is an e-commerce application. The number of purchases you have made, based on that, the spending categories, I'm going to categorize 4 categories, 4 groups, isn't it? So probably based on, see, if it is about $2,500, you will be comes under above category, below category. Based on that, you are a very important visitor for their application or not, they are going to be categorized. These are the groups. Group 1, probably group 2, group 3, group 4, probably, as many colors you have. This is one more group called as, this is the searching space, isn't it? So which is a group 5, like that, based on your purchases, spending order, they are going to be categorized as you are a very important person, to be notified very frequently to you, to be recommend certain products very frequently to you. All these decisions would be happen because certain applications are automatically categorized to you based on your spending purchases. This is another example how a clustering would be happen. Right. Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead. So because I'm taking a little more time over here. Right. See, if you look at this particular slide, this is worldwide, geographically map, where all these red dots are. If you look at it, this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis in the universally map graphical representation. If you look at this, a worldwide map, all the red colors. My question is, in which area? So during March 1st, 2020, maximum people are suffered from the COVID, isn't it? If you look at, they have noticed that the place where, mainland China will have majority of the, red dots, means maximum people are suffering during this particular period of time. This is a category. This is called as a clustering process. Based on, if you look at, this category, number of confirmed cases in one particular area, second area, third area, this area. So likewise, depends on the category of the area, they are going to recognize that China has more people have that pictorially represented as a cluster. Automatically, as many patients are joining into the hospital, automatically your clustering technique would be recognized in which area. In Telangana itself, in the Andhra, so in the Telangana, Hyderabad itself, majority of the cantonment areas and majority of few areas have been recognized as a red alert areas, where it's a hotspot area where majority of the people are suffering from. This pictorially automatically clustered would be happen not by the human being. This would be happen based on the machine learning techniques called as a clustering related techniques. This is one area. And coming to this is the e-commerce applications, where exactly happens. So you are comes under high spender person or mid spender person, or maybe you are risk to chain. See, these are the types of customers. You are high spender, you are going to be comes under VIP. You are going to be comes under very important person for the e-commerce application. Middle spender, okay. They are not going to be target for the middle spender people, because they are hardly 1,000, probably 500 per month they are going to spend. Such people, they are not going to be bothered, because for them there is no much profit or sales because of that. And one more thing is risk of churn. This is one of the noticeable point or hidden pattern. Risk of churn is nothing but certain customers are likely to be migrate from one particular e-commerce application to another customer. See, let us suppose earlier only Flipkart as well as Snapdeal, Amazon, few Mayantra, few applications were there. See, the moment the Paytm launched into the market, now he is the highest shareholder in the market for getting a customers towards him, because more offers will be given. See, these 807 people, probably out of a total will be 3,671 people have taken as a survey by one application, that 922 will be high spenders, 581 will be middle spenders, 807 are, these people are very soon they are likely to be migrate from one particular application to, once they jump to another application, probably because of certain facilities, certain discounts, they might be jump. So like that, the certain analysis would be happen. These two categories of the people had to be retained. See, getting a new customer is very difficult, rather than retaining the existing customer is a very important for the business people. So these are all pictorial representations are going to be represented as a clustering process automatically, not manually. That's the point you have to understand. Right. So here I told you that in the unsupervised learning method, if you wanted to cluster the engineering colleges in one cluster or second cluster, third cluster, distance will be a very important measurement, isn't it? So the closeness, the associativity, the correlation between the one point to another point or cluster would be measured. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, exactly. You are right. Yeah. Right. So there are basically three important approaches we are going to follow, isn't it? One is, Euclidean distance is a very important metrics in most of the sophisticated area we are going to apply. One more is a cosine distance. This depends on, application area, certain particular metric or measurement would be applied. Last one is a Manhattan distance. These are the three important statistical measurements through which distance of 2 points are going to be measured. Based on that, you will be able to decide on application this particular point to be belonging to one group or another group, or maybe outlier, isn't it? So let me go ahead. Yeah. So here the distance Euclideans will be calculated, by this particular formula. So which is a root square of the differences between the coordinates of that. See, if you wanted to learn machine learning completely, you have to be very good at statistics and as well as probability, because inferential statistics as well as descriptive statistics would be follow majority of the machine learning techniques. But it is a combination on integration of many different techniques, but as a whole internally they would follow the certain techniques, isn't it? So this is the formula basically we use. So, and I'm taking one example also how to apply this Euclidean distance method. So here there is an object A, there is an object B. Object A, object B related characteristics of the something called as the cost of an object, time of an object, and weight of an object, and incentive. So these are the some features related to object A as well as object B, isn't it? If you have now, I wanted to calculate the distance, the points 0, 3, 4, 5 are the points related to A object, and 3, 7, 3 and -1 are the points which are the feature numerical data related to object B. If you wanted to know the distance or correlation, closeness, or characteristics, nature, similarity between A and B points will be measured as per the above formula, which is called as this formula, isn't it? So now here 0 minus 7, isn't it, whole square, plus 3 minus 6 whole square, and 4 minus 3 whole square, 5 minus obviously minus will become plus, and plus 1 whole square. So probably this is the percentage, this is the distance between the closeness between the B and A and B are the points, are the objects, isn't it? So based on that, we are going to perform the clustering process. Now similarly, this is a pseudocode. This is a pseudocode. How programmatically we are going to be apply this particular technique, isn't it? So here, let us see. I'm taking, there is a function called as student distance. Distance initially is going to be 0, and I'm going to be iteratively taking all the elements from vector A, vector B. See, vector A will have its own values, and vector B will have its own values. I'm going to be iterate, x1 of D means what? Where D will be a dimension, which is a single dimensional array, where x2 will also single dimensional array. I'll be take one element from one vector, one more element from one more vector. Likewise, so the formula which I have written, is using a program that this particular line will be, it is keep on executed till this particular value will be reached to up to n. Isn't it? As soon as the your vector will be under flow condition, it will be come out of it, and it will perform the square root of entire the distance which calculated and return to the function where you have called. It is very simple, pseudocode where we can calculate the distance between 2 points, right? Okay. So there is another distance calculation measurement called as a cosine similarity. So this metric used most probably where your input data might not be possible in kinds of numerical in nature, probably strings into nature. See here the documents clustering, we can say documents clustering. So how it happens, the content of your document, this document is belonging to machine learning, or belonging to data mining, belonging to artificial intelligence, belonging to other domain called as electronics, or maybe signals and systems, probably solar systems, or depends what kind of a document it is. The document similarity would be happen, that's content will be images, videos, audios, special symbols, where there are certain types of distance should be calculated, then mathematically will be applied cosine similarity. So which will be, it is related to, it gives you the angle between two vectors. So if you look at any kind of if you draw any kind of a line, so where the closeness is going to be calculated based on this particular degree, based on particular degree. So that similarity, where the correlation between two important documents will be, gives you that another line can be drawn over here, probably this particular this is a document 2, it is a document 1, isn't it? This is the document 0, isn't it? So the question is that this document 1 is closer to document 0 or document 2. Obviously this angle would be give you that this D1 is very close to D0 or D1. Based on this particular distances only, the Google search engine will give you that the ranking of your documents. If you look at top 10 documents in the Google, most of the documents are very similar, very closer to each and every document associated with. But internally, the content of the document might be little differ. That ranking of the documents will be projected in front of you while you are retrieving the Google documents, will be possible by calculating applying a cosine similarity like this. Therefore, this will be a logic to be decide this document you are searching for, because you are Googling, right? The document which you are searching for, that document is how far closure, the distance will be calculated based on this particular technique is called as a cosine similarity. So where this particular formula would be applied. So information retrieval system, there is a specific subject there we will be able to understand. There I would like to tell you is that we are going to apply clustering technique, right? There is a last technique is Manhattan distance metric, which will be also used to calculate the distance between 2 points, isn't it? So obviously, this is very simple. The total sum of the difference between x coordinates and y coordinates, it is very similar to the technique is called as Euclidean distance algorithm, isn't it? So obviously here depends on the application. Manhattan distance measurement will be applied. So if we search for a literature survey state of art papers, you will be able to understand that in which case Manhattan distance will be applied, in which case cosine similarity will be applied, in which case Euclidean distance will be applied. That's the algorithm differentiate. K-means will be used as Euclidean distance, isn't it? Similarly, the researcher or maybe authors might be used with these particular metrics in different situations, isn't it? So I just applied Manhattan distance measurement, how to calculate distances between the points. So in the searching space, these are the points actually. This is a point 1 where -1 will be available, which is the x coordinates. They are the y coordinates, isn't it? So -1 will be this is 5 will be 1 2 3 4 5, isn't it? So here, so this is a point which is located in our searching space. X1 is -1, y1 is 5. Likewise, 1 is x, 6 is y, isn't it? 3 is 3 is x, 5 will be y value. Likewise, xy coordinates. Here is that I wanted to calculate how far this point and this point is distance from this -1 5. How these 3 points are distance from this particular point is going to become 12 will be the distance, isn't it? So coming to how far 1.6 will be distance from 3.5 and 2.3. This is a 19. So how far 3.5 will be distance from the 2.3 point. This is a 22. Likewise, we will be able to calculate the distance between one point to another rest of the points. Based on that, automatically the clustering techniques, the clustering technique would be move your specific point belonging to which category of the cluster. So this is a Manhattan distance measurement technique. So all these would be happen automatically with the help of our techniques or not manually. Right. In this process, I told you outliers are the objects that do not belong to any other clusters, because the characteristics, if we compare with the rest of the clusters, does not match, isn't it? Let us suppose I wanted to cluster a genuine card holder of your ATM and a stolen person, probably hacker, or maybe thefted your card. So usually the basic person, what exactly will do? If you are a card holder of banker, hardly you will be try 3 times your password is going to be enter at the ATM center, or maybe through the net banking. Your password. See, if a person who will be exceed this 3, 4 times or 5 times they will try, obviously I'm going to make him as what? He is an intruder. Intruder means what? So the person, unauthorized person, will trying to access your account. This person characteristics are very very dissimilar from the normal person. Isn't it? Obviously, he is going to become outlier person. He is an outlier person. He is having certain characteristics are comparatively with a genuine people. This person will have a very abnormal characteristics might have. Therefore, he is going to become an outlier. Therefore, here outlier are the certain objects whose characteristics are completely uncomparable with rest of the objects. See, height of a normal person will be up to 7 or maybe. Suddenly, if he enter 11 into was part of a hospital or maybe somewhere else, maybe 11 feet, if your height, he is going to be an outlier person. Probably, I don't know. I don't think so that the 11 feet person is available somewhere else. I don't know how. I don't have an idea. This point is going to become obviously considered as a outlier object. This outlier has to be eliminated from the data set. Then only your summarizations, your aggregation, your noticeable points, your conclusions, all these are the things will be universally accepted scientifically, hypothetically. If you combine this particular outlier objects while you are doing analysis using these machine learning techniques, probably the outputs predicted by your techniques might not be acceptable universally, because these outlier points are very gives abnormal results. Right. So even though, biomedical, in pharmacy industry, while testing your tablets, outliers are very important. That's up to you. So how you wanted to apply this testing technique in what area, that's very important point. That will be depends on the person to person. Obviously, individual cannot have that much knowledge to be grab attention of all the areas. Yeah. So obviously, I told these are the certain groups. This is a group 1. This is a group 2. This is the group 3, isn't it? So these points, probably these all points will have a very closure similarity characteristics of these points. Therefore, they have combined one group. These points are one. These points are characteristics are similar. But if you look at these points, or this point, neither they belonging to neither they don't have a characteristics are associated with these clusters. That's the reason they have not combined with another cluster. Therefore, these 3 points and 3 points are outlier points. They might have characteristics are let us suppose this point is very abnormal point, isn't it? Where this point will have a very distinguishable point, because during COVID period, no engineering college have paid 100% salary, but VNR VJIT college have paid 100% salary. That means, are they having any black money? Are they not maintaining properly? How they can give? Even government sector is not able to give the salary 100%. Obviously, you have to notice that VNR VJIT is the standard college where employees are not suffering from. Students are providing quality education. Like that, the certain points are going to be observed. So like this, these 3 colleges might be not at all paid salaries, right? Even software industry is also not paying salaries, isn't it? So like that, you have to understand certain noticeable points, up to you based on the analysis. So some applications we interested in discovering outliers. So that's a very important point in banking application also. So types of data is applied for the cluster analysis is that interval scaled variables, means your salaries need to be observed. Government salaries are high, or maybe private salaries are high. Probably clustering will be automatically happens based on the height, whether you belonging to a category called as, if your age is 1 year, probably you might have probably 2 feet, isn't it? Suddenly, if you have a 3 feet or 4 feet, probably it is an outlier. So on the height also we can perform, because salaries and heights are the continuous variables, continuous data. On that data also we can apply the clustering analysis. Binary variables, even you are belonging, depends on your categories of characteristics, we can apply whether you are a gender, which is a male or female, or maybe transcend, or what kind of a person, and probably you have a cancer or not, whether you are a diabetic patient or not, isn't it? So you are a COVID positive or negative. There are a lot of ways, depends on input data which you are applying for the k-means clustering data. Even binary related data also can be given as an input. Okay, nominal data is nothing but they are the categorical data, because you are a Christian or maybe Buddhist or maybe Hindu. These are the categorical called as a nominal data. But there is another kind of a data which is an ordinal data. A nominal and ordinal types of data are very simple. Ordinal data, your shirt size. Shirts are categories: small, medium, large. But you cannot interchange them. Small will be small, medium will be large will be large. They will be categorical in nature, but they would follow, some, associativity, some ordinal, some, that ascending order it follows. It is a lower, it is next, it is a next. But whereas nominal, nominal, that doesn't follow, isn't it? So that is the difference between such kind of data also given to be clustered automatically. See, because in a military rank, because there are many people would be categorized people, soldiers, isn't it? Who is going to become a military, major, who is going to become a commander, who is going to become what? It automatically based on your extra achievements, your experience, your qualification, your intelligence, your miracles, all these will be comes into this automatically clustering approach will be give you that who is having a full eligibility, because there are manipulation is also going to be happen. Suddenly in India, Pakistan people will become a commander. Obviously, is going to become informer to the Pakistan. So obviously, such kind of outlier analysis will be not possible to be observed with the human being brain. You need to have some machine learning techniques that automatically learns from the experience without being explicitly programmed. As I said, much more powerful than a human brain, because we can remember up to 10 elements or 20 elements. If we give 1 crore information elements to the system, it also be able to provide you 100% accuracy as an output. Not 100%, 99% will be a valid output will be given. Human being cannot give. For that reason, automatic applications are required. Right. So similarly, there are the other types of input data will be given, ratio scaled, population related data, isn't it? And variables can be mixed also, isn't it? So heterogeneous elements, like the elements can be strings and numerical, and combinedly all these also will become a mixed of values. That time also the clustering approach can be applied. So that's up to you to imagine over here, right? And here obviously clustering analysis will be a lot of techniques. So one of the technique we are going to apply is called as a partitioning technique. Hundreds of applications are there. Research people have been invented innovatively, and probably most sophisticated application we used to be deals with when we applying for the real-time scenario. So partitioning algorithms is a one algorithm which is going to become a k-mean algorithm. So now we are applying k-means algorithm is comes under categories called as a partitioning algorithm. So probably hierarchical related algorithms, density based algorithms, grid based algorithms, and a model based algorithm. Probably time is now exactly 10:47. Let me go straight away to the place where mathematically I wanted to be analyze the k-means algorithm, and I'll execute practically, and as well as I'll show you how it will work. Then only I'll be happy with you. So for that reason, I'm not discussing about this all density, grid based, model based, all these techniques. You just probably in earlier sessions, most of the eminent personalities from IITs, IIT Bangalore, all these might be spoken about many techniques. They might be covered during their sessions. So for that reason, I'm just right away going over there. So here I'm talking about k-means algorithm. K-means algorithm. So k-means algorithm will be a partitioning related technique where each cluster will be represented by the center of the cluster. So obviously each cluster will be associated with a centroid point. So which means what exactly the centroid point, how it is different from. So let me take an example, and then I'll be come back to the to you, isn't it? So here this slide will give you that initially our data will be unorganized. Our data will be unorganized. Data is unorganized. What is our aim? If we apply certain k-means algorithm such a way that I want it to be categorize these particular objects into two, where k is equal to 2. It is an unorganized data. I'm giving k means what? K will be indicates how many clusters you wanted to make. That's up to you. K can be 2, K can be 3, K can be 4, but not 1, isn't it? Right? So let's choose K objects as an initial cluster center. So I'm assigning, set this red light, these red points will be, I'm taking it as initially centroid points. Centroid points means the point to be calculate the distance for the rest of the points, isn't it? For that reason, initially we have to assume any one particular point has to be considered as a centroid point. From that, I'm going to make partitioning approach. So after applying this technique, we are going to get these kind of two clusters. So in the first iteration, in the first iteration might not be produce you that which object will be belonging to which group. So it is an iteration process because it is a permutations and combinations would be possible for all the objects are available in a particular searching space, isn't it? So here, as soon as the first iteration is over, here this red mark is going to be a centroid point for this particular cluster. This red mark is going to be a centroid point for this particular cluster, isn't it? After that, I'm going to reassign by summation of means. Here there is a word called as a mean, right? K mean, where to update the centroid point for the next iteration, the summation of all these points will become a latest centroid point for this cluster. After this point might become something else. So that is not possible for me to demonstrate practically. I'll take an example. Finally, this process would be keep on cycling unless till the centroid points does not change. No points are moving to no other clusters. Till then, this process will be a spiral process, isn't it? So till what extent we will be iterate? Till the points doesn't change their centroid nature. Then we will stop this process, right? So here I'm taking one example that there is a business scenario. There is a business scenario, which is a diagnostic. Visia diagnostic is a very famous diagnostic where our blood samples will be tested and scanning most of the hospitality related diagnostic observations will be made very reasonable cost by the Visia medical diagnostics. There I'm taking height of a particular person, weight of a particular person. Based on these two factors, you are belonging to a healthy person or maybe unhealthy person. I want it to be clustered. I hope you understand. I'm taking every human being height and weight based on that. You are suffering from thyroid or not. You are suffering from thyroid or not. Thyroid or maybe hormone imbalance problem. See, if your height is 5.3, if your weight is 55 kilo, I'm very healthy person. If your height is 5.3 means if your weight is 80 kilo, you are in the problem. You might be future diabetic is going to be attack to you. Maybe heart attack is going to attack to you. There are certain noticeable points we are going to be observed by applying clustering process. For that reason, I'm taking my input data set as the height of a particular person and weight of a particular person, isn't it? These are the two input variables to group healthy or unhealthy people. So what is my height?